Good morning to you, Ghana, and thanks for joining us on the Koko Digest Morning Show. My name is Annabelle Bevan Ejebia. We are coming to you live from our studios at Ministries Valco Drive. We're also streaming on Go TV channel 184, and we are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube as well, so you can get interactive with us if you're not in the comfort of your homes. Today on the show, we are talking about something, very serious, something more than even unemployment. We are talking about fairness. We are talking about dignity. And then we are talking about equal rights. A few days ago, we saw a number of people on the street who identified themselves as graduates, unemployers with disabilities. And the question is, if there are laws protecting these people, why are they out there demonstrating? Why are they there demonstrating? If there are laws protecting these people, why are they out there demonstrating for jobs? And these are some of the discussions we'll be having on the show. Later, for lifestyle, we'll be talking about the comeback of the 90s fashion. So you wouldn't like to miss this particular, edition of Koko Digest. And then we'll also be talking about colorectal cancer later in the day. So get interactive with us while we have this particular conversation. And also, we'll also be opening phone lines where you get to share your thoughts with us and your comments as well. Next is motivation. Do stay with us. And now it's time for motivation. Let's have it displayed so we get right into it. So today's quote is from Charles Bukowski, Charles Bukowski, and it's saying that you must find what you love and let it kill you. You must find what you love and let it kill you. And this quote doesn't literally mean let what you love doing kill you, but it's talking. It talks about the deep passion and total commitment. It doesn't really mean it's going to harm you because you love what you do, but rather being devoted to something you love, that you give your full energy. When you love something, you tend to stay committed. Like you get to do everything just because you love it. Imagine doing something that you are talented with, and then something you are being forced to do. Definitely, what you are being forced to might not go well, but what you love to do, or your talent, your passion for that particular thing can, keep you going. If you have a job that you have passion for, if you have a job that you are talented with, you tend to give in all your best. You tend to, do the job well because you love it wholeheartedly. So yeah, that's what Charles Bukowski is talking about this morning. Now, next we'll be talking about, the news. We are moving on to the news segment, so make sure you stay with us. Yeah, welcome back to the show, and I'll get right into the conversation for today. But before then, we'd like to take the word for the day. So the word for the day is synergy. Synergy, meaning when two or more things work together to produce a better result than they would individually. When two or more things work together to produce a better result than they would individually. Synergy. So guys, what do you think about the word of the day?
Synergy. Like you said, when two or more things work together. So let's be practical.
All right.
Let's say a husband and a wife,
Okay.
Work together, plan in terms of their finances. When they plan together, tend to achieve more than they would if they actually do it separately.
Right.
So
right.
that kind of
Like teamwork. Let's even take our normal work here. Media work is not as easy as some people think it is, because we have to work together. Because individually it's not going to work. But when we are a team, it makes it Let's say we come and then the MCR was not here. We come, the sound guys are not around, the lights people are not there. How would you ensure that everything will work together? But when we are together and then we work, individually together, everything is going to work out. So Peter, I think Benedict.
Yeah. So I think per the meaning, when two or more things work together to produce a better result than they would individually. So it's basically trying to talk about teamwork. It's just about teamwork. And, getting a stronger result, getting a better result from people, agreeing to perform a task together. It's not just agreeing to perform a task together, but then also joining minds, hearts, because you can agree to work together, but if you're not working in the same tune, your hearts and minds are not in tune, you cannot achieve the kind of result you want. So I think it's just, putting everything together for a better outcome. So that's synergy.
Thank you. And you sound a little bit like down today. Did you sleep well last night? What did you sleep?
Well, this work, how demanding it is. The sleep is quite small. I sleep for a few hours and then I'm up.
But the most important thing is that you are here, because our motivation for today says that let what you love kill you.
Yes.
Let what you love kill you.
I'm sure
because of the passion.
This will not kill me. This will not kill me. This is not kill me. But for passion,
Right. So we'll get right into our news review, and we're talking about unemployed graduates with disabilities who demonstrated a few days ago for equal job opportunities. I'm going to read the news. Large number of unemployed qualified persons with disabilities have staged a peaceful protest on the streets of Accra, calling for equal employment opportunities and the firm enforcement of inclusive labor policies. The group commenced its march from the Accra Rehabilitation Center in Adabraka on March 24, urging both government and employers to place greater emphasis on inclusivity and fairness in recruitment, holding placards with inscriptions such as "We need jobs, enough is enough, break the barriers, not our spirit, we can work, we are capable." The protesters pressed for urgent and decisive action to address their concerns. And this is so sad. You can just imagine, these persons with disability on the streets. It's so sad. Honestly, I can't place myself, because I in person have been in school with some of them. My secondary school, Okapan Senior High School, we had them, the visually impaired. Okay, we had them all over campus, and they did a lot of things for themselves. Yes, we helped them, but most of the times they're on their own. We were in the same dormitories with them. they bath themselves, they do some of these basic things by themselves. Do you get it? So I'm sad because we don't include, them when it comes to our policies and all of that. Yes, the laws are there, but the issue is that when it comes to Ghana, the policies that we have, it works only in the books. Peter, the policies only works in the books, but in reality, we are not doing well.
I think we have a long way to go as a country. If we have people who are, excuse my language, quotes unquote, disabled, and but they are capable of performing certain tasks, and then we choose to ignore them. Like you were saying, I don't know them personally, but then I had a few colleagues back in uni who were disabled. There were visually impaired colleagues, and then of course ones too. So I don't really think it was a problem, because if they were able to sit in the same lecture hall with us, moving from I was a student in Legon, PG Legon, and then my lecture hall is at JQB. So moving from all the way from JQB, I mean from the accommodation unit, maybe if you're on campus, even where you stay, I mean the halls to JQB is quite far. So going all the way to even the political science department, moving all the way from the halls to the political science department is quite far. But these people, yes, they have people who aid them in walking and all that, but they are so smart that they've calculated the steps they will take from the hall to the
and they've been doing this
for all the years they spent in school.
Right. And so let's not to cut you short, but let's take a look at the video and hear some of their grievances.
We can do it and do it better. We are competent. We can work. Disability is never inability. We can work. We are suffering. Ability is expensive. So we need job. We need job. Mr. President. Mr. President of the Republic of Ghana. People with disabilities. This is why Mr. President, we need job and your quota certificate. We have what it takes to acquire job. We need job. We are tired. We are tired. We are suffering. We are suffering. Mr. President, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, we are suffering. We are suffering. Mr. President, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, we need you. We are suffering. We are suffering. Mr. President, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama.
And these are some of the grievances from the unemployed graduates of people with disabilities, and it's so sad. honestly. And I ask myself, are there no laws? Are there no laws? Are they not included when it comes to our law?
So this is actually a very good question. There are laws. There in the Constitution. There is a provision for persons with disability. So let me just go through it briefly. So there is a legal framework for persons with disability. That is we have a Persons with Disability Act 2006, Act 715, and then let me be briefly. It says that it's Ghana's primarily disability legal rights legislation enacted to operationalize Article 29 of the 1992 Constitution. So it guarantees fundamental rights, equal opportunities, and accessibility for persons with disability. So there is actually a provision that has been made for persons with disabilities.
Right. So I ask myself, if there are these laws, then who is enforcing it? Peter, do you have anything to say? Like, if there are laws, actually, it's in the Constitution that these people are supposed to be protected in terms of their job security and everything, because they've gone to school to pay money and all of that. It's just recently that somewhere last year in the manifesto of the NDC, they said they were going to, include them. They're going to pay or cater for their fees and all of that.
Yeah. So like Benedict reiterated, we have the laws, but our problem here in the country has always been the enforcement. And like the videos we saw, they've been saying that disability is not inability. They have the qualification, they can work. Right now, the issue is about the job opportunities or the job avenues for them to actually work. And like Benedict rightly said, the Disability Act 2008 at 715 actually provides provision for these. 2006, provide provisions for these disabled people to work. And basically, the Act says what the Act says about employment. So the law guarantees that persons with disabilities should have equal opportunity to work. And here is what it means. It means that employers cannot refuse to employ someone just because of disability. If the person is qualified for the job, and then there should be equal treatment. You understand? And then when it comes to workplace accessibility, like Benedict was saying, that right on campus, even the distance from where they are accommodated to the lecture room is kind of stressful, and they would have to go through some stress.
Back at secondary school, my school had like a number of them. They have a school, a Koko school for the blind and then the deaf and everything. So after that, they come to like the SHS. So a number of them. These people literally like do almost everything on their own. So the problem is, why are they not, employing them?
That is the workplace accessibility thing. And then there should be a reserved employment or incentive for these people. But what are we seeing in this country? None. Even when it comes to government sector employment, we don't see government taking charge. We don't see them taking the lead or walking the talk in order to even, call in for private institutions to also, involve themselves. Now, indirectly, these people are being discriminated. Why do I say so? Sometimes when you take a look at what the kind of job opportunities we advertise, indirectly, you don't see, those with disability actually finding themselves there.
So and then we don't even see them in the society. I hardly see any of them like. When was the last time you saw any of them around?
The thing is,
does it mean that we are just confining them to certain places, or we are not allowing them to?
They are allowed to walk around, move around, do the things that we do normal. But the thing is that because of our abilities, we are able to know our mobilization or our movement is quite easy. Unless it is very specific, they have a soap or something to do, you barely find them around. Even in school, you don't see them walking, unless if they're going to the market to go and get food, or going for lectures, or going for a program. Normally, you see us going to watch football, going to sit somewhere to chat, going to visit people. You don't really find them doing those things.
But what's the reality of what the law says is that they are
make
equal.
provisions for them.
We should treat them equally. We shouldn't treat. Yes, you have the special way of treating them. Okay, but we should let them feel that yes, they are part of the society. Okay. And even the international law, the UN Convention on on Rights of Persons with Disability. I think that is where they adopted the 2006 law. It focuses on non-discrimination, accessibility, liberty, and then the equal rights as well. So they're supposed to, have that kind of equal rights when it comes to society with us. And also, I like to Section 10 of the Constitution says that the promotion of employment of persons with disability. I think Peter mentioned that. It says that the government shall grant a person who employs. The government shall grant a person who employs a person with disability an annual tax rebate of the taxable income in respect of each person with disability employed as shall be described or prescribed in regulations made under this act. The government shall again grant special incentives to persons with disability engaged in business and also to business organizations that employ persons with disability. So that way, the employer, so I think we have a member of the Coalition of Unemployment Tertiary Graduates with Disability. We have her, so we'd like to have an interaction with her. Peter, please take over.
Hello. Hello, Madam Fatima.
Hello.
Good morning to you and welcome to the Koko Digest Morning Show.
Thank you very much.
Right. So, but 3 days ago, we saw you on the street protesting. Can you enlighten us what exactly your demands are, the specific actions you want the president to take to address the unemployment among graduates with disability?
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. And I extend my greetings to all our listeners. Yes, you saw us on the street on Tuesday, last 3 days, because last month we did a press release telling the government giving the government a 1 month opportunity to employ all persons who are graduates and unemployed.
Okay.
We didn't hear anything, and last week Monday we held a press conference. So nothing came out. And then we decided to do the demonstration on Tuesday. So it's about employment of persons with disability.
All right. So is it that, jobs are not accessible, are not readily available for people like with disability? Is it that you don't get access to job opportunities?
Okay. So we do apply to some sectors, and we've been taking our documents there, and we don't hear anything. Sometimes they will say we should wait till portals are open, and we don't hear anything. Yes.
So, in your opinion, why do you think that employers actually hesitate to hire people or persons with a disability? Do you think it is intentional, or there are no job vacancies?
I think sometimes, I think the education for persons with disability in this country is low. I mean, not we personally going to school, but then people do not know much about it. And I think it's part of the reasons why people hesitate to employers in this country.
All right. So,
because they still think persons with disability do not know how to do anything. It's like says that we just stand on the roadside begging. No. So I think that's the reason why most of the employees hesitate to employers.
All right. So it means that in a nutshell, they doubt your capabilities. And so
exactly.
So the protest you had in a way is to tell employers public, and private sector employers that you are capable, you have the qualifications, and that you can also equally work as those without any disability. Is that?
Please, yes.
All right.
Yes, please.
All right. So as we speak currently, what policies or laws should be strengthened or enforced to ensure equal job opportunities? Because as we speak currently, we know that there's a Disability Act 2006 Act 715 which actually protects people with disability. And then on paper, everything seems very good. And so currently, what specifically do you want the president to do? Is it the enforcement of the law, or create more avenues, or create jobs that are specifically directed to people with disability?
Okay, so as you have already said, the Disability Act 715 talks about disability employment. It's part of the act. So I think we want the government to enforce the law for us. Apparently, recently, the government gave us 5% quota, and we want it to work for us because we are like there are so many persons with ability who needs employment. So if he has given us the 5% quota, he should make it work for us.
Okay, so you've been given 5% quota.
Yes, please.
All right. So currently, as we speak, the issue is about enforcement.
Yes, please.
All right. And so, under the District Assembly Common Fund, 3% of the District Common Assembly's Fund is reserved for people with disability. Would you say that is not enough, or it is not helping to cater for your needs?
Please come again.
Under the District Assembly's Common Fund, 3% is reserved for people with disability. How is that helping?
Okay.
How is that helping to reduce the burden on you in terms of unemployment, or as you wait for an opportunity in the public service? Is it enough? Is it enough?
Oh, okay, I understand. No, please, because we have been educated, please, and our parents sometimes borrow huge amount of money to take care of us in schools. So I think the 3% of the common fund, because there are more people in the house who have not been educated. So I think sometimes they also go for that 3% for other businesses and other things. So I think for the 3%, it will not. It's not sufficient for us. No, please.
All right. So beyond government interventions, what role should the private sector play in solving this challenge?
Okay, so I will tell the private sector to also help by to employ some of us because we can work. We are capable. We have been educated. We have the qualities. So I will tell the private sector to employ us. They shouldn't think of our disability, because disability is never inability.
All right. So what will be your next action? Currently, you want the government to give a clear roadmap on how to employ the people with disability into the public sector. Let's say we don't hear from the government. What will be the next line of action?
Okay, so please, we have a plan, but then we don't want to put our plan on air now. They have given us 1 week that we will hear from them. After 1 week, if we don't hear anything, that's when our plan will come out.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam Fatima Owusua, for your time this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. We are very grateful.
Evelyn.
Yeah, this is a very serious situation, honestly, and it's sad. It's sad because people have paid school fees from basic school level to senior high school, entered tertiary, only for them to finish and then come and sit in their house, and you tell them that they are not capable of working. This is a very serious situation.
We need to be able to identify specific key barriers You know, reasons why these things are not, persons with disabilities are not allowed, or they are not really included in our work field and all. And I think one of the things that one of the things that comes in mind is, first of all, stereotypes. Indirectly, people know there are a lot of stereotypes going on with persons with disabilities. And the thing is, these people are, they've been educated, they've been to school
there are
4
lots of
years.
them that are very clever and intelligent.
Yes, and if we want to use stereotypes to limit them or stop them from earning something, making something for themselves, I think we are not being fair to them. And there are lots of things, a lot of jobs out there that they can do. If the blind can read and write, they can write exams, the same exams that we write in uni and pass. There was, I think 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, there was one of the students who came, a first class student, he was blind. So you can tell that they are very smart, and it's not just they are actually smart.
Right, they are
students.
smart, Benedict. So the population, a total number of population, 2.1 million Ghanaians are living with disabilities. So are we saying that this 2.1 million people, all of them are not
all
working?
Of them.
What is it? What is it doing to
So there are some
GDP
that are
as
working.
well?
There are some that are working, but you see, they are limited in their roles. We undermine them. That is the word. We undermine the capabilities of these people. But if we are to make room for them, one, create infrastructure. Two, we should expose people to the understanding that these people, they have the capability to work. If you put someone behind a computer, someone who is blind behind a computer to work, I mean, working on the computer, you just need to know how to.
I think with them also, they use the braille.
Yes,
the braille,
so they can read and write. They can perform their tasks easily. Office work is tedious, but then it's not really tedious compared to studying in a university, because it's the same notes you transfer here. You deal with people, human interaction, work interaction.
And even according to research, employers who employ some of these people with disability are given the opportunity or relieved in terms of the tax that they pay as well.
Yes.
So why is it that they are still not doing? Is it that they feel they are not efficient enough to do the work?
Stereotypes about productivity. That's one of the very big reasons why they are not being.
Do you think it's one of the gaps? That is one of the gaps.
Yes.
Peter, you come to say something.
Yes. So the thing is that we are missing the whole link. Now, when we were having the interview, she made mention of a salient point that people think that people with disabilities are those we find on the street begging. But we have people with disability who are educated, who have certificates. And so we have a section, we've normalized everything that people with disability they are not educated, they are always on the street begging. But we should understand that there are some that are educated, and this is collation of university graduates with disabilities who have the same qualification as those who are not disabled. And so that is what we need to understand. When we understand that we have them, they have the qualification, they have the certificate, and actually work with, those who are not disabled, then that is when we would appreciate them. So there are a section of them who did not go to school, but then they have the skill that they are working with, like Benedict said, they have the skill that they are working with. And that is why 3% of the District Assembly's Common Fund is, reserved to cater for them. And those that have what it takes, those that have the certificate and can work with the corporate world, that is where we have to, actually focus on them, give them the opportunity. The act or the law actually gives employers who employ these people tax incentives.
Right.
You understand? To ensure that it's a way of motivating them to work more. And I think that government should lead the charge, but by reserving an aspect of the workforce for these people. When the private institution says that government is actually doing that, that will also motivate them. But here in the public sector, you really see, people with disability working. But they are saying that disability is not inability. And we can all justify to the fact that those that we schooled with are very smart and they can equally add up to the productivity of the country.
Right. But Peter, my main issue here is that, okay, we haven't put in the systems in place, the structures for them to, after finishing the school levels, they come and work. Then again, in October 2025, in the NDC's manifesto, they are saying that they are going to provide free tertiary education policy for persons with disability. And I asked myself, after passing it through the tertiary level, okay, that's many people have passed through it. And per statistics, when you check, the numbers keep dropping. Like the people who, continue from senior high school levels to the tertiary, the number keeps dropping. I think that was where they decided to, provide a free tertiary education level for people with disabilities so that they can get educated. So the issue here is that now, if that law, that bill gets passed, okay, it becomes a law now. That bill gets passed and becomes a law now. Does it mean that all these people that are going to, get opportunity to get a free tertiary education because they are persons with disability or they are disabled, are they also coming to sit at home and join them, adding to the 2.1 million number of people again?
So
it's serious.
When you think about it,
so it's like you've not solved the problem that is already there, and you want to
now, and this time around, you are making it free because you are catering it for their fees for them. That means that if there were 20 people that were being able to financially get in, now
going to increase.
There'll be double of that number because right now
it's even different when we are able, okay, even the universities, the graduates, they still come and sit at home. Imagine people with disabilities, the difficulties they have to pass through. This is not easy.
The fact is that we made mention of the structure. The structure exists, but it exists beautifully on paper. We are not enforcing it. So what is left currently is the enforcement of the law. Once we enforce it, you see everything working. And like you rightly said, and Benedict, because already those who are out with the qualification, they are not getting the jobs. Right now, it is going to be free for people with disabilities to, enroll in the tertiary education. So like you said, the next 4 years, you can imagine the number of graduates we'll be having. Meanwhile, we've not been able to solve the one that we have. So it means that in solving situations like this, we have to tackle it from the root. And like I said, in terms of the structure, it is there. All we need is to enforce it. We have to take action now because the law stated specifically. If you're a private, employer and you employ people with disability, you're going to get some tax waivers,
even the government institutions. Which of them have you really seen?
That is the problem, and so they have to walk the talk. You want us to do something, start with it, and then others will follow as well. And so the situation is it is high time we talk about it, and I like the educational aspect of it, making people aware that it is not all people with disabilities that are not, educated, but there are people with disabilities who are educated and qualified for all, sector jobs in this country, and it's high time we consider them. And it will even it will encourage, those at home. Because if with all my disability, I'm able to maneuver my way, pass through all the educational, levels, and now I'm home, I'm not even getting a place to actually work. The knowledge that I was fed with, I'm not getting a place to help the country with it. Then those who are also aspiring to become those who have been able to go through the ranks and file, it discourages them. And so what we normally see is that they just enroll them in these menial jobs, skill. They try to, enroll them in some of these skills, but that shouldn't be the core. Over the years, we've seen people with disability, protest on the streets. But this is one of its kind. Because, when I saw coalition of graduates with disabilities, they are graduates. And
you see the thing.
But, we can also talk about it living without talking about the fact that unemployment rate in Ghana is a problem currently. When you look at the number of people who are unemployed, both, the abled and, excuse my word, the disabled. I mean, it's a problem
in the... them with persons with disability.
Persons with disability. So it's a problem in the country. So the unemployment rate is actually high, and it's high time. Last week we were talking about, government turning attention to the visual arts to create some employment there. Then when we take a thorough look into our industry, we'll definitely find out how we can employ these people.
All right. Thank you very much, Peter. Benedict, you come to say something.
Yes, I just wanted to, add something, You see, when people talk about disability, most of the things, what we focus on is limitation. But have we, do you remember Steve Hawking? In science, he's one of the key figures in science. Helen Keller in advocacy, she's one of the key figures when it comes to advocacy. Even in Ghana here, we have Yao Ofori, Deborah. He was an amputee for sports.
Right.
And we have people who are able to do greater things for the world. Steve Hawking, for example.
They're talented.
Yes. Let me talk about something that I saw over the news a few weeks ago. When the World Cup, Ghana's preparation towards the World Cup, it was unveiled, and then they were making donations and all that for the Black Stars team towards the World Cup. One of the issues that came up was the Ghana amputee team that played a competition about a year ago. And then we realized it was during this process, we realized that they were not even paying attention as a country, as a sports committee. We are not even paying attention to the amputee team. They went for a competition, and their tickets to come back home, the coach had to come online to solicit for these funds for them to come back home.
Right.
So it's something that it's all round. I think we need to take a good look at that parts of us as a country and as a people, and we need to invest more into these people as well.
Thank you very much, Benedict. We are just hoping that governments would come in the situation and then solve these issues for persons with disability. They deserve that kind of rights, equal opportunities. They also deserve it as well. Peter, do you have any more trends for us?
Yes, exactly. For the past 2 days, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is trending, the UN is trending, African, countries.
Right.
The UK is trending, US is trending currently. And I just want to read something briefly. So in a historic move, the United Nations General Assembly has passed a landmark resolution championed by Ghana and the African Union, officially recognizing the transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity and setting the stage for formal reparations. The motion was passed on Wednesday, that was yesterday, and an overwhelming 123 nations in favor, 3 against, and 52 abstentions, including the UK and the European Union. And so, Okujato Ablakwa actually spoke after this vote. Then let's take a listen to what he did.
Very clear message that the international community would no longer tolerate impunity. That the international community stands for justice. That the international community and our multilateral system we have erected, no matter how long it takes, the day of reckoning will come. And so all of us as leaders should be mindful of our actions and our policies. That once we violate the rights of others, once we engage in impunity, in acts of injustice, the day of reckoning will come. To me, that is a very, very profound message that the UN is sending to the world today. This resolution says a very...
Right, so that is about, the transatlantic slave trade. Over the years, we've been talking about slavery, slave trade, and it looks as though the diaspora or that part of the world do not want to accept the fact that slave trade was actually bad.
Yeah, it was a crime.
It was a crime.
Yeah.
But thanks to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, with the support of some African Union, today the UN has actually accepted that the transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity.
Right.
Now that the UN has actually accepted this, the way forward is the reparatory, justice. That's the reforms. So it means that once they've accepted, it means that whatever thing that they took away from us, they have to return it. Because now you've accepted that it is the grievous, crime ever against humanity. So it means that whatever thing you took away from us, you have to, return it. And that conversation would continue right after this. So it can be in form of cash, items, whatever thing that it may be. So that conversation will continue from that. But then let's turn our attention to the vote. The countries that voted, or the countries that voted in favor, that accepted that transatlantic slave trade was actually is actually the grievous crime against humanity. Now, countries like 123 countries voted in favor. It means they accept, that transatlantic slave trade was actually bad, and 3 countries actually voted against it. And U.S. is one of the countries, and it bears the question. The United States. Now, when you take a look at history, you would realize that they actually benefited from this transatlantic slave trade a whole lot. Then for them to say that they don't agree that slavery is the grievous, crime against humanity, they said something, their reason for not, agreeing. And I would like to quote the representative of the UN General Assembly. He said, "While we recognize the wrongs of the past, we are unclear on who the beneficiaries of the reparatory justice would be, and therefore cannot support the resolution at this time." While we recognize the wrongs of the past, we are unclear on who the beneficiaries of the reparatory justice would be, and therefore cannot support the resolution at this time. And this actually got people talking. So this is what is actually trending. And so 52 countries said they are not against it. They are also not in favor. They don't know their stance. Countries like Greece, France, Australia, Canada, Germany, and the likes, 52. But 122 voted in favor. 123, sorry.
I like the fact that this has, come up. And I like President John Dramani Mahama, for taking a very bold step. Okay. So, honestly, we all can attest to this particular situation about racism and everything. Recently, I saw a video of a lady on social media talking about the fact that Africans are evil. Africans are evil. Meanwhile, the person in question saying this is a black American, okay? And if you watch what President Mahama said during, the meeting, he was like, most of these people in the diaspora, okay, they've been brainwashed that we are bad. Africans are evil. They are black monkeys and everything. So I just like the fact that this has come up, and at least most of them, if not for anything, most of them have agreed to the fact that the transatlantic slavery was indeed, something abominable. And I just pray that going forward, we just hope it's not even going to happen again.
And like what you said was actually the message of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. I think we have a video to that.
Yeah, I think we should call him and then listen to what he said.
He said, when you go to the United States currently, they are not teaching the right thing. They are teaching their kids about this whole slavery. When you go outside, they are trying to hide the fact that they actually took Africans to their country.
I think they have a portion that they say we Africans were selling our people to them
to work on large plantations.
Yes.
Which of course is not the truth.
They don't know the whole background of the story, because when you watch social media these days, like a lot of the Black Americans, it means that they don't know their roots. Like, you don't know what is even happening, just because that side of the story is not being, showed or portrayed to them as whites. So Benedict, do you have any submission to make to this?
I think this is actually a big achievement for presidents and of course for Africans.
That's right.
Know that at least in the end, whatever that was championed, the reparation of the Atlantic slave trade was able to be passed, and then we achieved what we were looking for. I think USA voting against this goes a long way to tell us that there is a lot to do.
Yeah. The fact that our people are there running away, they want the greener pastures and everything.
That's the thing.
And the racism will still continue.
It will still continue. We want to move over there. We want to better our lives, and we think in bettering our lives or becoming better people, we have to move to the States, or we have to move outside of our country. And I think it still creates the understanding that they are superior than us, they are better than us. They have to enslave us, even in today's world. You get it? So the best way out, I think John Dramani Mahama, president, did a very good thing. He was very bold, because
let's have a look at what His Excellency John Dramani would say.
Here in the United States, Black history courses are being removed from school curricula. Schools are being mandated to stop teaching students about the truth of slavery, segregation, and racism in American history courses. Books about those topics are being banned in schools and public libraries. Museums, art centers, and other institutions whose budgets rely in any way on public funds are being prohibited from scheduling exhibitions and programs, or from displaying materials promoting racial awareness or Black history. Much like the law that was put in place to regulate the punishment of the enslaved in Barbados, these policies are becoming a template for other governments as well as some private institutions. At the very least, they are slowly normalizing the erasure. They are slowly normalizing erasure.
And yes, that was His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, speaking to the whole issue. And as you were saying...
before I continue, I don't know, Bevelyn, if you... On Tuesday, we were talking about the creative arts industry, and then if you saw, just before the video ended, you saw some people playing drums and dancing. This is another part of the creative arts industry, and this is where they've got into the UN, I mean, making an introduction for Africans. And this is actually a good thing. It has to encourage someone who's into the creative arts industry. But then, let me go back to the president of Ghana. He actually made a very bold move, because this meeting was in the US. It was in New York, the soil of USA. And to still be able to make declarations against their acts towards blacks, even till today. And of course, to cite examples, to cite instances in schools, in their basic schools now, the things that they are teaching their kids now, trying to create the impression that slave trade was actually good. It was good for us. Meanwhile, this is a time where people were treated like non-humans. Let me, for the lack of use of better words, they were treated like non-humans. And then it goes a long way. This is true. I think he was trying to send a message to the other presidents who were around, head of states who were around, that what is right is right. If you have to go against the rules of that land to be able to speak against what is wrong, and speak for what is right, I think you have to do it. And so I want to just use this opportunity to applaud the president of the land. This is a very bold move because we've seen presidents crumble under the mention of USA, the states. But for him to be able to do this, it's actually going a long way to show that this country, we are ready to take up every mantle, every rock that is thrown to us. And I think it's going to help us. Now we have the bill, the law that has been passed. Now we know that the reparations are being made, and we know that things are hopefully going to be better. We still don't know how things are going to unfold henceforth, but then we are hoping that now that it's been agreed, it's been voted, and it's been accepted by the UN countries and all that, things are going to be better. And now discussions will be streamlined in such a way that we know that yes, there is inclusion now, there is involvement now. Our countries, especially African countries, are going to be recognized, and then whatever that happened those years, the wrongdoings are going to be corrected. And I think it will encourage most of us here.
Thank you very much, Benedict. Thank you so much, Peter. This has been News Review on the Koko Digest Morning Show with my colleagues here in the studio. Next is Lifestyle with me, Honorable Bevan Ejebia. So stay tuned. We'll be talking about the comeback of the 90s fashion in the Ghanaian history. So make sure you sit back and then get interactive with us. Send us messages, comments, and what you think about how the comeback has been. Let's be back after the short break. And welcome back to the show, and it's just an honor hearing Melissa's voice, sing the Adina's song. Anyway, you're welcome back to the lifestyle segment, and I have here with me Mr. Leroy. Did I pronounce it correctly? Leroy in the studio to help us understand the comeback of 90s fashion in the Ghanaian history, and yeah, let's have this conversation. You can also as well send your comment, your contribution, and what do you think to us. We will have it, read out. Welcome to the studio, Mr. Leroy.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm fine. How has your week been?
It's been good. It's been actually very awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
how about you?
It's been good. We are here.
Yeah.
By God's grace.
Yeah.
Tell us who you are and then what you do.
Okay, so I'm Leroy Debra. I brand a sportswear brand. I make sportswear basically. Right. So I'm also into the fashion area where we, sometimes pick up ideas and then create things, as in putting more things into the sports industry.
Right.
Yeah, and then being more innovative with it. Yeah. So I make sportswears. I've been doing that for about 6 to 7 years now.
Did you say 67?
Yes.
So right now you're 70 years. That's just by the way. Recently you go on social media and then you see the things that our parents used to wear. Like you see the kaba, like the puff, like just like the one I'm wearing. You see crop tops. You see a lot of baggy jeans and all of that. And I asked myself, these were things that our parents or our great grandfathers or our forefathers used to wear. Okay, and we call them old fashioned. And I asked myself, well, we are talking about it this morning. Why do you think some of this, old fashion is coming or resurfacing again?
So I think it's from basically, if you look back at it, as in looking back at like you said, your parents' time, which will basically, or let's say, originally be from mid-80s to 90s. Most of the outfits were very comfy. As in, I'm using Gen Z language.
Gen Z, yeah,
It was very comfortable, and it gave them some form of, comfort when they wore them. If you take a good look at it, they were mostly loose outfits.
Yeah, they're not sophisticated as now.
Yeah, so looking at how it's being, chosen by people, or let's say it's an outfit people pick to go out to a place, to run errands, to go informal dates, informal meetings, and as in looking at it, it's showing that people are being more expressive in what they wear now, in the sense that they are not trying to be too. They're just trying to be free, trying to choose what fits them best, choose what looks good on them best, and then taking a look back at it, the baggies, the loose outfits from back then, they kind of bring that kind of comfort to people. So I feel like more people are choosing to go back to that.
But when you look at some of these clothes, would you say the comeback is because of social media influence, peer pressure? These are Gen Z's, Charlie, because my friend is wearing some baggy jeans and she's, so now this is the new trend. Let me just get to Cantamanto and then just buy some baggy jeans and then some crop top and let me show them. So do you think the comeback is purely nostalgic, or you say it is because of peer pressure and, let me see, the trend just for the vibes?
Well, I think it's both. I think it's both, and I wouldn't put the term peer pressure though, but then I'd put, let's say, influence.
Okay.
Yeah. So with the nostalgic feeling that comes with it, as in comes with choosing or preferring 90s outfits, I would say that will come from people having, movie characters, will I say characters, or movie stars Back then, they used to watch, like, and see how they, wear these things, or even musicians. I think way back, sometimes even looking at the famous ones, how they put on some things. As in growing up, you see it as a child, and now you get to a particular age where you can dress and you feel like, I want to look like this person today. That's going back to being more expressive about what's inside.
Yeah.
So that's aside. There's also a very, very strong, influence from, let's say, people who are, well known in society these days. Let's put it that way. They can sometimes wear something and might not even know too much that it was something that was worn way back, like, in the 90s. They might put it on and it will attract someone. Someone will see it. I mean, people now have people they look up to in such, famous and influential personalities these days. So they will see it and then prefer to, also follow the trend, move along,
Because you see some of the old-fashioned, I don't know if some of them can be displayed here, the old-fashioned trends, but you see some of the dressing, the way these Gen Zs will remix the dressing, I say yes.
Yeah.
You feel like old again. You feel like, oh, I miss those times where we used to, wear this kind of dresses.
Yeah.
Would you say they really understand the 90s fashion like our Gen Zs now?
Yeah.
Because it feels like sometimes
like
they pick. They're not copying their thing entirely, but they pick from every bit, add it to it. Back then, let's even take our normal. People used to charge phones at shops. They pay. They charge their phones for them. I don't know if you've experienced that.
Yeah,
but now it has come to the state where people even use wireless, chargers to charge their phone. Like there's some kind of modernity. So would you say that Gen Zs now and really understood the fashion back then?
Yes, they have. And I would say we, because
Yeah, Gen Zs.
we have...
Let's look at this particular one.
Okay, yeah.
See how the trousers is like...
this looks like one celebrity.
This like a man, right?
Yes.
And he's even in puff. A man is wearing a puff. These days, do you even see someone wearing a
Black
puff?
Sharif. Dressed exactly like this.
Like this, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say people have got to really understand it well.
Okay.
And also, they have done it the right way. Because if you want to incorporate, let's say, the 90s, like, let's say a blend of 90s Gen Z, if you want to blend it well, you have to pick maybe a one statement piece outfit, So if you are going to go with, let's say, today you want to get a 90s vibe in your outfit, you have to pick one thing out of the 90s. Add, for instance, if you're a lady, you'd want to pick maybe baggy jeans, and you want to maybe take up a bodysuit kind of top. And then maybe if you want to go extra, you go with a vintage, like let's say 90s jacket on it, and then you are good to go. Yeah, so.
Interesting. So now let's look at the comeback. What are some of the 90s fashion, trends that we are seeing now everywhere we go? On TikTok, you see them. In the market, you see them. Even churches, people have been adopting wearing those kind of stuff. And I feel like in the olden days, like we were literally, that was their life, okay?
Yeah.
That was their way of dressing. They wore it to the cinemas, they wore it in their homes, like everywhere they go. But now we have adopted it as fashion. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So what are some of the trends that we see now that are from the 90s?
I'd say maybe something like the palazzo pants.
Right.
Let's say pants with flare.
I don't know if it can be, okay.
Yeah.
I think it's
some pants like these were pants that were worn back then. And like I said, people don't even know that it was, some people don't even know that it was worn But I don't know if you had the situation whereby you wear something and maybe your parents will tell you they've done it before, as in what you're wearing is not new. It's something they've done before, they've worn before. But then we add a little touch to it. So, for instance, something like palazzo pants, something like these large suits, as in
Large suits.
Let's say baggy suits. You know, there are suits that were worn way back that were really big.
Baggy.
Have this.
People really use it for old school
Yeah.
programs and old school stuff. But then they will add a little bit of the tie
True.
and then the afro.
Yeah, exactly. So those things are some of the things that sometimes, and even sometimes shoes, because I think some shoes, like let's say the big ones like the Timberlands and all those things, wear
they're coming back.
things that were worn back then.
I remember, I'm not too old, okay? I'm not too old, but back in primary school, there was these boys in my class, and then the Timberland, these boys, they were like a group of like 3, okay? And the Timberland, they were wearing it. If you do mistake and you go annoying them, you cause their lane, the way they'll mash your leg with their Timberland. So these are some of the things that's, coming back. But I think we are the Gen Zs are rather adopting them as fashion.
Yeah.
Okay. As they don't, it's not something that they wear like almost all the time, like you see them inside, but occasionally then you see them wear. So what is the most like dominating fashion trend now in Ghana?
The most
dominating fashion trend in Ghana.
I'd say jerseys. I'd say jerseys.
That's very true.
Yeah, I'd say jerseys because you saw how Ghana Month was, how Ghana Month began,
and then the jerseys were nowhere to be found.
Yeah, and how people were, rushing for it. How people were. There was actual like demand more than ever for jerseys, especially the old ones, the retro ones, the 90s jerseys. Because the jersey that was most purchased, I think, or most worn were the ones from the 90s, the ones that were used by, for instance, Abedi Pele's time and Tony Yeboah's time, from the 92 to 2000s. But then I think that jersey was actually worn from 92 to 97.
Right. But what actually influenced this whole jersey wahala? Because you call my friend now, they'll tell you that, a friend will just call you randomly, hey, you haven't gotten some of the jersey. Hey, I'll go and buy jersey. What would even influence me to go and buy jersey 600 cedis and 700 cedis? What was the influence all about?
I'd say jerseys became, very relevant this Ghana month because it's something that can take you to, I think maybe 90% of the places people go to. So if they want to run errands, they can put on a jersey, put on a jeans, and they go, and they are fine. They can even some people take jerseys for meetups, like informal meetups. Some people even took jerseys to work, as in for Ghana month, for it was something that was worn almost everywhere. And these days you can see it. Artists, musicians, movie stars, everyone, sometimes they just wear it, put it on, and then take, pictures of themselves in it, and people want to have it.
So do you think it has come to stay? Because we've seen old trends, Aquaba. Do you think the jerseys now has come to stay? We have now adopted it as part of our culture?
Yes, I really believe it's come to stay. Okay. I really believe it's also coming in.
Okay, so they are showing old versions of how the jerseys were then.
Yeah. Okay, so this is my dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which of them?
The one in the middle.
Oh.
Yeah, this is my dad. The one who actually started my sportswear brand at the moment.
Tell us about the passports.
Yeah.
Something.
So passports was it still is. When I say was, well, maybe I'm looking. It's a brand that began in the 1990s. It actually started in 1999.
Right.
And,
They're still producing.
Yes,
things
we're still
like that.
producing.
Right.
And
do you have a display of what you were producing back then?
Back then, some of the things you saw on the screen, as in, has some of the things. I mean, we produced for a number of, teams, a number of, many teams. I believe in the mid 2000s, Passports made Benin's AFCON, I think one of the AFCON jerseys, pre-game kits, something like that. Yes, so we've kept on producing for teams. We still do, as in we do more jerseys. And previously it was just jerseys, as in from not just jerseys, as in, but it was jerseys was the strongest part of the brand, as in making from the 99s to the 2010s, and then getting to the mid 2015, like that. Around that time it was mostly jerseys. But then when I came to spearhead the brand, I decided to add more of the things that we were already producing to the market, as in putting tracksuits,
They're just like a family business. Family business. It's a good thing.
It also has a story with what we are trying to talk about, because it started. Sometimes I can go back to the stuff my dad made in the 90s. Sometimes like the picture you were seeing on the screens. It has, some of them has neck designs that are still brought into, even
I don't know if we
modern
can have some of his, clothes being displayed so we can have a look at them.
Okay, so these are the new stuff that's, are on the market.
But what is this called? Because
this is the
I mostly see people mostly going to the airports, sporty, wear them. So what's the name of this one in particular?
This is a Passports Flex Fit tracksuit. It's Flex Fit. The name, says everything about it. Right. So it's flexible. You can take it to, almost everywhere. And that's how come it has just a quarter zip. As in, it doesn't have a full zip. You can.
Growing up, I mostly see goalkeepers wear this. Like growing up, mostly see like the goalkeepers where the players wear the short jerseys. But with this type, growing up, I only saw like the goalkeepers. But now it has become a trend. Like
these are things that now people wear to, players of, let me say, football teams even wear to the pitch. These are pre-game kits. Now they can even select stuff like these for it. Someone can go to the airport with this, travel with it. This also gives that one gives a cozy vibe. That's the sweat piece, the one with the hood, the hoodie and sweatpants. It gives a cozy vibe for the cool weather, cool seasons, And also, this is more for ease. For, let's say, a holiday, you have...
Just like for summer.
Yeah. You want to go on a very... maybe a weekend away. You want to just have easy wear stuff. This is the Vista, Passports Vista. Yes.
See how it's been, done. You can easily do easy wear, like summer when the sun is hot. You don't want something to covering, just for that kind of comfort and flexibility.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So you can see that now, let's say the modern passports is looking to, although doing previously what we used to do, has added more to it, just like what we are talking about.
Right.
Yes, adding branching, trying to make sure the sportswear goes into, everyday wear. And so some of these things, some of these categories on the markets at the moment, like available on our websites, ready for purchase and all those things. So.
Not to go to much, but I'll still have to ask this question. So how is the production done? Do you get the outfits from outside and it's being printed, or you do all the production
everything
yourself?
In Ghana, everything.
Tell us about it.
So
The process. We only have suppliers with the fabric, and that is all. We just start everything from scratch.
You produce the fabric yourself?
Yeah. No, we have suppliers for the fabric.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's aside.
But what's the name of the fabric called?
So there are different textures of fabric, different fabric textures. I mean, you can go.
I know the vest is not really that heavy.
Yes, please. It's not.
So what's material?
That was a light lycra, or you can use, let's say, the jersey eyelet.
Okay.
There's difference in them. Most of them are more for the fabric people to understand. So those are some of the fabrics that we use. I mean, depending on the outfit, depending on where you're going with it, as in the outfits, what is meant to do for you. For instance, the sweat piece carries that's a heavy lycra. It carries a more, the sweat piece, as in the hoodie, it comes in two fabrics. There's one that is extremely heavy, and that one that is heavy, but for the Ghanaian weather. Because Ghana can be cold, but not as cold as other countries. So there's a French terry. That's the one that's a very heavy one. And then there's the heavy lycra, that's for the Ghana system. Even if it's cold, even if it's cool, like extremely, that one can help you in Ghana. But then,
Interesting. Right now, let's talk about sustainable fashion, in Ghana. Yeah. I know these things are very expensive. I know.
Yeah.
So, in as much as you people are creating... Oh,
they are not.
Mention the price. Let's say if one caller can call and say, "Passports, please, I beg, supply me maybe 2 pieces or something." How do you call it? 2 pieces, right?
Yes,
the matching ones. Yeah. So I know these things are not. What do you make of sustainable fashion when it comes to the Ghanaian industry? We're talking about sustainable fashion. Back then, people used to produce their own clothes, like the local fabrics and all of that, the tie and dye. Like they produced what they have anyway. Before we were colonized, and then there was the Oboni Wewu, wasn't the thrift? Okay, we were adopting the thrift and everything. So, what would you say in the Ghanaian fashion sense is now sustainable fashion?
Okay, so you mentioned thrift.
Yeah, I mentioned
thrift.
And I mentioned like local African prints as well.
Yeah. So I'd say both, help in this scenario, this situation, because thrifting, upcycling, and I think vintage shopping helps. So sometimes maybe some of the things that we have, for instance, the tie and dyes and the all those things, sometimes we can remake them, or let's say touch it in different ways to make it look better and not discard it.
Which one?
As in our local,
like the African prints, you mean?
And it can even enter the thrift market.
Yeah. Because I even heard some time ago that this China they even produce African prints and they bring it back fast. Buy. Those people are really smart.
Yeah. So so basically, I would say this comeback of the 90s and plus the comeback of our locally made our fabrics and stuff. It's one aspect we don't really look at is that it's eco-friendly as well. It's also having to do all these upcycling, thrifting, vintage shopping, it makes us not discard the clothes.
Right.
You get it, not discard the fabrics. So for instance, if you feel like a fabric is outmoded, you don't want to, someone can pick it up, add a new vibe to it, and then it goes into the vintage shopping, thrift markets, and it brings eco-consciousness as well to society. As in, for instance, we can protect the environment through that. Instead of discarding all these things, sometimes even the ones that come into the country, sometimes we have to, keep trying to recycle it, trying to make them, look better and then into another market. Sometimes these are things that are going on that helps the society, or let's say the country. So I wouldn't say that there's one bad thing about thrifting and then maybe, ours is, I would not put it. I would just say both really sustains the environment.
What do you say has been like the challenge in our, fashion industry now? Like, what has been the gap? Because mostly now we purchase the thrifts because we feel it's more sustainable.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the people who even sell it say it goes faster. The thrift sellers, that's why we have like more thrift sellers, force sellers in the market. Thrift is what we call with the thrift, the force. Okay, to those people who don't know what thrift is, but yeah, what would you say has been like the gap? Okay, because it's like we're colonized, and this is what we have come to stay. So what should we do?
So I'd say that we should have the thought to produce more, as Ghanaians, as local citizens, as in we should have the, the.
But
drive.
you've been importing your fabrics, right?
Some of them were produced here. Okay. I have some companies that do that in Ghana. Some are imported, yes. That's how the system is in the country. So with the imported stuff, some of them come at a cheap price. Because for instance, if you were to produce an outfit here in Ghana, you can add the cost of making one or making everything, and use that as your pricing. Use that in pricing, as in look at how much it costs you to make one outfit, and then determine you to make profit you have to price this way, which is going to be a little higher above the the thrift market, the, like you said, Obruni way that comes into the country. Those ones are very cheap. That's why they also get markets like that. And I would encourage that we produce more and also put ourselves into those markets. Because most markets that are in Ghana are actually not our markets. They are foreign markets. So I would say we have to encourage people and also to choose, some of our homemade stuff. Because, for instance, people are purchasing sportswear from outside. Some people even purchase, like you said, purchase and then bring them in and then, sell them but then we produce here. We produce everything in Ghana. And it helps also incorporate our, cultural, fashion. Let's say a traditional fashion into it. For instance, we can do something with the kente in, some of these outfits that you would not think a kente would go into, or let's say, just for fashion, sake.
So, just for fashion. So, let's hear from you. What's your definition for fashion? How would you describe fashion?
I would describe fashion as an expression and a means of communication. Yeah, so you can get to know someone through their fashion, through what they wear, through how creative they are. For instance, not just the people like us who produce or make them are creative. Some people who wear them are also very creative. So someone can see this, that, and think, if I combine this, it's going to look good. It's a form of creativity. And how they would wear it, go out, and then people would see them and even want to buy it. But normally, if you were to see those things somewhere else, you would not prefer to get it, or you would choose something over it. But we use the fashion to express what is inside the person inside.
So what is inside of me? Right now I'm wearing kaba. I'm wearing pop. What is inside of me?
So
anyways, let's hear your final words. Then Yeah, anything you have to say to our viewers or even your customers out there?
Oh,
you can
okay.
just look into the camera and
yes.
say it was a wrap up.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope I was able to give you more insight into what I do, into the way we have to purchase our stuff, into how we have to choose Ghanaian-made stuff. Because
so where can we find you?
You can find not me, the business.
The business, yeah.
You can.
I mean, when you find you find the business. So
when you see the business.
Yes, exactly.
So you can find the business at go to passportsghana.com, which is a website where you can check out some of our stuff, and then maybe make even orders to purchase on the website, and also on our social medias, Passports LTD99 _.
So it's not passports, it's passports.
It's passports, but then bringing them together, it gives you a vibe, because people usually mistaken it for passports.
Yeah.
So it's passports.
Thank you so much, Mr. Leroy, for being with us on the show. Really appreciate you. And thank you so much for staying with us. This has been Lifestyle with me, Annabelle Beverly JB. Talking about choleric. We're talking about. Okay, let's have our birthday before we send out.
I heard today was your birthday.
Oh, so today is Ifwa's birthday. Today is Ifwa's birthday. Ifwa is the producer for the Koko Digest Morning Show. Happy birthday to you, Ifwa. Your vision, creativity, and leadership continue to shape the success of Koko Digest Morning Show. And this is from all of us. We say thank you so much for keeping our mornings impactful and inspiring. Wishing you a year of even greater wins. And you should come and see Ifwa in the studio one day. You know, we call her a barometer because she likes to give pressure, a whole lot of pressure. So yes, Ifwa, a happy birthday to you. Next is the main segment, and I'll be on the show with a health professor. We'll be talking about we're talking about a very, very important disease. So make sure you stay with us. We'll be right back after the break. Very free disease.
Hello, viewers. Good morning and welcome back to the Koko Digest Morning Show. And this is the sports update segment on your favorite morning show, the Koko Digest Morning Show. I am your host for today. My name is Benedict Nketia Kwating, also known as Nana Kofi Nketia. Of course, we are in a Ghana month, so we'll use our local names. Today, here, we bring you nothing but the best in the world of sports, and we are covering all the action, both local and international. Now, before I go into my stories for today, let us talk about something significant that happened yesterday. So there was an El Clasico game, the women's El Clasico between Real Madrid Feminine versus FC Barcelona Feminine. So the female teams of the giants, the football giants in Spain had an El Clasico. But I mean, we know the results as always. We know Barcelona is going to dominate Real Madrid, but we weren't expecting this abysmal display of football from Real Madrid women's team. Yes, they lost by 6-2, and in total they've played about 23 games, and in 23 games Real Madrid has won only one, with Barcelona winning the rest of the game. So this is actually one-sided rivalry, and it's quite sad, it's quite unfortunate that a giant team like Real Madrid, the men are doing very well, but they are not investing very much attention into their women's team, because to be failing at this rate, it's quite sad. Another thing I want to talk about is the international friendlies that is going on. We have a game that is France against Brazil today, and it's going to be very epic. It's going to be a very big showdown. We've seen the sports songs, the tracks that have been released for both teams. I mean, there are batabs for the France team, and of course the Brazilian team too, with a very strong music that has been produced. So we know today is going to be very tough. It's going to be very exciting for football fans out there, and of course, to our investors, I want to just remind you that the UEFA, the league, the qualification league for the World Cup as well is also going to be played. We have some of the league games that's going to be, the international conference games that's going to be played as well today. So today and tomorrow. So I just want to urge you guys to also stay tuned to us as we will bring you highlights on them. Now let's move on to our stories for today. We have the first story has to do with our local news. So the Tamale Mayor kicks off the 2026 Honda Football Championship in grand style. So yes, a competition that is organized in the university. So the Honda Football competition, or the championship, championed by the Mayor of Tamale. His name is Abubakari Adam Takoro, has officially launched the 2026 Honda Football Championship with a ceremonial kickoff, signaling the start of a week-long university football spectacle in the northern region. So yes, football isn't just in the Greater Accra region or the Ashanti region or the Western or Central region, but we have very good football players in the northern region as well. In the Upper East, in the Upper West, the Northern region, the Volta region, we have very good footballers. I mean, if we can quite remember, some few months ago, we had UDS traveling all the way to China to win the inter-university competition that was held over there. And of course, if you remember the highlights, they played really well and they emerged winners. So yes, this is to address the fact that we have very good players up in the north as well. So yes, this competition is going to begin on the 24th. The ceremony was started on the 24th of, it was held on 24th of March, where we had signatories coming from all around. We have Idrisu Mohammed, Jonah Yakubu, and Shaibu Mohammed, Ibrahim Tanko, that is the president of the Ghana University Sports Association, all coming to support this competition, which shows that yes, we are actually in support of whatever the Tamale Mayor is putting in place. So the competition will be starting from the 24th of March to the 28th of March. So it is bringing together 8 universities from across the country who are competing for a supremacy and, of course, the grand prize of 25,000 Ghana cedi. So we have participating universities from the University of Professional Studies, Accra, Bolgatanga Technical University, Tamale Technical University, University of Energy and Natural Resources, University of Ghana, University of Development Studies, University of Mines and Technology, and the University of Business and Integrated Development Studies. So yes, these matches will be played at the Aliyu Muhammad Sports Stadium, where we witness very great football games between these universities. So I will urge our viewers out there. I think we have just today and tomorrow that is left to the end of this competition. We can patronize, we can watch, we can invest our time, and let's support our students out there in the universities who are also playing football to make a name for themselves. Now let me move on to our next story for today. It has to do with the Black Stars. Yes, our very own the Black Stars. The Black Stars technical team still not enough despite additions. So this is a quote from Didi Dramani, who is the head coach for Accra Hearts of Oak, one of the bigger sports team in Accra, Ghana. He says that the technical team that has been selected. Yes, we know recently 5 additional members were added to the technical team. We had the Kim Lars Boykeren, and then French coach Alain Rivera. We also had a Spanish analyst Jose Daniel Martinez Alfonso, who is also supporting as a scout and a match analyst. The physiotherapist Carlos Lozano Romero, who has worked with the team at the 2022 World Cup. And then we have the performance coach, our very own Dwayne Piazza Parkwesi, who is part of the 5 members that were added to the technical team. But according to Didi Dramani, he says it is the right decision, but still inadequate in my opinion. The World Cup presents an opportunity for learning and growth, so more hands are needed, both behind the scenes and on the bench. Other teams are often understaffed due to limited resources. He also pointed out that sports science is crucial to keep players refreshed, especially during matches. Some members of the technical team must also focus on scouting potential opponents across different groups and analyzing various aspects of the game. So Didi Dramani is making us understand that yes, there is more that needs to be done. Yes, the 5 members have been added, but we need to add more when it comes to the sports science. We need to focus on the sports science where it keeps players refreshed during matches. It helps with scouting of players, and it also helps with the team, technical team, make decisions when it comes to scouting the best players for the games ahead. So that is it from Didi Dramani. It's actually a salient point, and I don't know what needs to be done, but I think we can sit back and look at the contributions of our coaches of our local teams, our local leagues, and their contributions towards the Black Stars. And since we want the best for the Black Stars in this World Cup, we can take into consideration these suggestions and then help move the team forward. And the next story has to do with the World Cup. Yes, in a few weeks' time, we will start with the World Cup in June. June through to July, we start with the World Cup. And one of the issues, the key issues that has to do with the World Cup is the Iran, the war going on between USA, Israel, and then Iran. So yes, New Zealand footballers willing to play Iran World Cup match outside USA. So yes, New Zealand, they are having one of their fixtures, that is the opening games against Iran. And then one of the issues against this present game, this very all-important game, is that Iran has threatened to boycott its group matches due to the war that is going on between USA, and then Iran. But New Zealand footballers have said that they are willing to play the game outside the US of A in the opening match in the FIFA World Cup 2026 because of uncertainties over the fixture with regards to the war that is going on. New Zealand players, their games are scheduled. They have a game scheduled with Iran and in the US of A. But the players are saying that if it's going to be a problem for USA to host Iran, of course, as Iran wants to boycott their games in USA, they want to compete in the World Cup, I reckon, but then they don't want to play in the US of A. So I think Mexico and Canada have also, I think they are also good playing sports. Where they have good stadia for the games. Of course, they are also part of the organizers and, of course, the host for the World Cup. So if Iran would agree, New Zealand, they don't have any problem if they have to play their games in Mexico or Canada. And the players have expressed their concerns for these issues that are coming up. They don't want to miss the games. They feel like Iran deserves the chance because Iran was one of the teams, the first teams to qualify for the World Cup. So we don't have to ignore them. We don't have to take them out just because of the politics that is going on in between Iran, USA, and then Israel. So the players are saying that let us move their games to either Mexico or Canada. They don't mind. They will be willing to play. And I think it's not just against New Zealand, the Netherlands, and I think they have a game against South Africa also. So I think they can do something about it with regards to the location for their games. And of course, our last story for today has to do with racism. So a man who racially abused Jess Carter has been sentenced. So his name is Nigel Dewal. He is 60 years of age and made comments under his username Boogeyman during the Women's Euro 2025 tournament, which England successfully defended their trophy. So this man, expressed or he sent racially abusive messages on social media about England footballer Jess Carter. So this is towards the women's football. So Jess Carter is a footballer for the England national team. And then this man on our screens sends racially abusive messages towards this woman during the competition, during the Euros, where they were trying to defend their title back then in 2025. The man has been sentenced to 6 weeks in prison. His name is Nigel Dewal, 60 years of age. He's been sentenced to 6 weeks in prison. He's been suspended for 12 months, and he's been fined £239,000 at the Blackburn Magistrates Court, and he has a 3-month curfew. Yes, he would have actually gotten he came very close to being sentenced to jail for quite an amount of years, but for the sake of his 20-year-old daughter who suffers from epilepsy, and of course he is the primary carer for his 20-year-old daughter, so the judge had to be a bit considerate on him and then giving him pass this ruling. But then this is a wake-up call to everyone out there, especially those in Europe. We were just talking about the transatlantic reparations that was just passed by the UN, where the president of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, championed it during his visit to the UN. In his speech, he championed it, and then it's been passed. It's all about racism. It's all about discrimination towards blacks out there. So this is actually one of the mediums where blacks are actually they are racially abused a lot, and this is going to go a long way to address the issue of racism, where people will be cautioned that if you are caught, if you are caught, you'll be fined, you can be jailed, you can be prosecuted. So we should be careful. We are all humans. We all have bloods running through us, and then it is not nice. Of course, I'm playing for your country. Jess is one of the key players for the Lioness, the England women's national team. She's a very key player, and as a citizen of England, you turn around to racially abuse one of the key players of the team you actually support, where you come from. I think there's something that is going wrong somewhere that needs to be addressed. But then again, we hope that this will serve as a good reminder to everyone and a good caution to everyone out there. Before I end my submission for today, before I end my segment for today, the Ghana Black Stars, in preparation towards the World Cup We have our game coming up, an international friendly against Austria coming up, and that is being displayed on our screen. So we have to prepare. We have a in-house discussion at 4 p.m. on your favorite morning show, your favorite TV station, that is Clock TV, tomorrow at 4 p.m. So stay tuned with us. We'll bring you in-house discussion. Austria versus the Ghana Black Stars, a friendly match, and then we are all hoping to enjoy and see our boys bring victory back and bring back the love that we are expecting. Okay, so this is it for the sports update segment. Before I end my segment once again, I want to wish my father, Charles Quartin, a happy birthday. He celebrates his birthday 2 days from today. I want to wish you a happy birthday from the Quartins, from your boys, Victor's, Benedict, and Sylvester, and of course from Stella. I want to wish you a happy birthday. We pray that God richly bless you, and of course enlarges your territory, and all the things you are doing for us. May God bless you. Thank you very much, viewers, for sticking and staying with us. This is a sports update segment. My name is Nana Kofi Nketia, also known as Benedict Nketia Quartin. Next is the main segment.
Hello there, good morning to you and welcome. This is the Business Update segment on the Koko Digest Morning Show. And as usual on this segment, we provide you with the latest in the world of business, expert analysis and market trends that will impact your business and investment decisions. My name is Peter Insia. Now to our stories. The World Bank has committed about $75 million to rehabilitate 25,000 hectares of cocoa farms in Ghana, as the sector faces mounting challenges from diseases, outbreaks, aging trees, the climate variability. The funding provided under the West Africa Food System Resilient Program will focus on replacing diseased and unproductive cocoa trees with improved high-yielding and disease-resistant varieties. It will also promote better farm management practices to increase productivity and improve farmer incomes.
Beyond cocoa, the program supports seed system development and the introduction of climate-resilient crop varieties, especially in northern Ghana, to strengthen food production and farmer livelihoods. About 5,000 acres of cocoa farms are expected to be restored in the short term. The intervention is seen as critical to reviving Ghana's cocoa sector, sustaining export earnings and supporting the broader economy.
Away from the World Bank, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, is urging a review of the price floor policy in Ghana's petroleum sector, saying recent price competition among oil marketing companies shows the benefits of more liberalized market. The ongoing price adjustment between Star Oil and GOI, along with effort from other companies like Zen, JP, and Petrozol, have led to more competitive pricing for consumers.
COPEC believes removing the price floor would allow market forces to further reduce prices and improve value as companies compete by cutting margins to attract customers. For the second pricing window of March, the price floor is set at 11 Ghana cedis and 57 pesewas per litre for petrol, 14 Ghana cedis and 35 pesewas for diesel, and 10 Ghana cedis and 67 pesewas for LPG.
On to our last story, Ghana's power sector is gradually moving into a higher risk zone as electricity demand continues to grow faster than investment in transmission infrastructure, according to the Institute of Energy Security (IES). The concern comes amid rising peak demand driven by increased economic activity and higher electricity consumption in homes and industries.
This growth has not been matched with the necessary upgrade to the transmission network, creating structural weaknesses in the system. The analysis highlights issues such as congested transmission lines, increasing technical losses, overburdened infrastructure, and aging equipment, all of which threaten grid stability, reliability, and efficient power delivery. With demand now exceeding 4,280 megawatts, the risk of supply shortfalls is increasing, especially if expansion and upgrade continue to lag behind demands.
And that wraps up the business of this segment on the Koko Digest Morning Show. Thank you for staying with us. My name is Peter Insia. Up next is the main discussion with Annabelle Ajibia. Please stay with us.
And if you are just tuning in, this is Koko Digest Morning Show on Clock TV. My name is Annabelle Bevin Ejabia. And on the show today, we are going to be talking about a very serious medical condition, colorectal cancer. We'll be talking about colorectal cancer, what the sickness is about, some of the causes and possible solutions we can find to. I'm sure many of you out there do not even know what colorectal cancer is. In the studio we have Madam Frimpong, Madam Margaret Frimpong in the studio. She is Deputy Chief Nursing Officer at the Colorectal Ward, Department of Surgery, Kolebu Teaching Hospital, to help us understand what this deadly disease or cancer is about and some of the ways that we can, prevent this disease. You're welcome to our studios, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. How's your week been?
Tiring. Because I'm on the campaign against colorectal cancer.
I know a number of us don't know what colorectal cancer is. So we'd like to find out from you what exactly is colorectal cancer and who does it affect, or which part of our bodies does it affect?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. We don't take it for granted at all, my team and I. And I want to say a very good morning to our viewers out there. Please don't leave the set at all. Just sit down and listen to us as we talk about colorectal cancer, because you may not get the chance again.
Right.
Okay. So colorectal cancer is simply cancer affecting the colon or the rectum. I know by now most of us know what cancer is, because we have different types of cancer. We have breast cancer, we have prostate cancer, we have cancer of the blood, of the bone, of the eye. Any part of the body can actually be cancerous. So today we are talking about colorectal cancer, which is cancer of the colon or the rectum. One may ask, what is even the colon? So when you look at our digestive system, right from our mouth coming down through the esophagus to the stomach, okay? Now, after the stomach, we have what we call the small and large intestines. So the colon is another name for the large intestines, and the rectum is named for coming towards the lower part of our buttocks. I mean, within the anus area. Good. So most people don't like to hear the word, but please forgive me today, pardon me, and let's learn a lot, because we are going to talk more about that part of the body where people don't like to talk about. So that's colorectal cancer. Cancer affecting the large intestines and the rectum.
Mostly people ignore things that they don't understand. So we'd like to find out, does it affect men, does it affect women, or even children?
Okay. So it doesn't affect children, as at now that we know. Children have their own types of cancers that they do have. Okay, but for now, we are talking about the adult colorectal cancer, where it affects both men and women equally. So it's not a female or male-dominated cancer. It affects both male and female equally.
What's the age, like the age range?
Okay, so interestingly, colorectal cancer used to be a cancer that affects above 50, above 60 years, so between 60, 70 years. But as of now, we have more of 45 and above. And even in recent years, we are getting below 40 years. So now we mostly say screening should be done above 45 years. But I think as we talk, I'll mention certain things that would let us know why anyone can actually walk in for the screening test. As part of your, let's say, yearly or checkups that you do. Let's say it that way.
Now, we would like to know, what are some of the causes of colorectal cancer?
So the actual cause of colorectal cancer is not known. Okay, but then there are risk factors risk factors that can lead you to have colorectal cancer. Okay. So with the risk factors, we have the modifiable and then the non-modifiable risk factors. So the non-modifiable risk factors, as the name says, it's something that you and I can't do anything about. And the first thing is aging. You know, we can't do anything about aging, okay? We can make up and all that, but then the body still grows old. So when you are aging, as we said, about 45 years now, you should, make sure that you have the screening done. So aging is one of the non-modifiable risk factors which we can't do anything about. Secondly, we have, let's say, genetics, okay? So if you have a relative who has had colorectal cancer within the family, you have a very high probability
it's
of
hereditary.
getting, yes,
it can be passed on.
Yes, of getting colorectal cancer. You know, it's genetics, it's in the blood and all the system, the genes and all that. So you can actually get colorectal cancer as well. Now, more so, it's even more closer when you have a first-degree relative who has had colorectal cancer. When I mention first-degree relative, it's, let's say, your own mom has had colorectal cancer, your mother, your biological mother, your biological father, a sister or brother from the same mother or father. You can, if that person has had colorectal cancer, then you have a very, very high probability of getting colorectal cancer. So that's the non-modifiable risk factor. Now, when we move to the modifiable risk factor or risk factors, they're actually things that we can do something about, okay? Very easy to stop, very easy to maneuver your way around it. So first of all, it's about the diet, our food that we take in. So we have the junk foods, more often of junk foods causing colorectal cancer. Some are the pizzas, the burgers, the fries, okay? Fatty foods can cause can aid in you getting colorectal cancer.
Does it have to do with the timing that we eat them? Because, you know, there are certain foods that when we eat, we are being told that you should eat it so that at a certain time it gets digested
and all that. It all plays a role. But then, you know, most people now prefer the fast foods. And most of the fast foods contain fat, oils. Okay? So we need to take note of that. Again, we look at food that are very low in fiber. Very low in fiber. And mostly they are the junk foods I'm talking about. We'll talk about the fibrous food later. And then we have not taking in more fruits. You know, most people don't like fruits and vegetables. Okay,
but
so
what has been,
you know, all the fruits and the vegetables contain fiber. So we'll get to know that food with more fiber would help your guts, that's your intestines, more. Okay, and it will help with digestion and all that. But if you don't take food with fiber, it's like you are disturbing the intestine, and then you're going to worry the intestine, and it's going to develop and have the either the colon cancer or the rectal cancer in any way, because those foods cause constipation and it's not able to move the stools from your large intestine. So the large intestine is in charge of pushing the waste, which comes out as toilet. Okay, so if you are constipated, all these constipations can cause inflammation and other things within the intestines that you and I cannot see. You know, when you have breast cancer or you have signs of breast cancer, at least you see, because your breast is out of your body, right?
So it doesn't have any signs at all? Like,
it does have signs.
So
we'll surely talk about the signs.
We should look out for.
I'll finish with the risk factors and then we quickly move to the signs. So I'm still on the diet, because the diet is everything we do now. I mean, that's what sustains you. Okay, so besides the diet, we have obesity. Okay, most people in our country, unfortunately, are obese. So I would advise they see the dietitian who will teach them the right food to eat, the quantity to also eat, and at what times they should also eat. So obesity is one of the risk factors. Again, we have alcohol intake. Okay, most people will tell you that I don't take in alcohol, maybe when I go to functions. But you know, when they go to functions, they take more than you should even take in a day.
The amount.
Yes, and then some people say, oh, when I'm coming to eat, that's when I take something small to boost my appetite and all that. But we all know that little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. So the little alcohol you are taking in will become a mighty thing that can cause colorectal cancer. Again, we have smoking. Okay, smoking can cause colorectal cancer as well. So we will now divert to the signs that you asked about. So first of all, the number one sign that most people experience is blood in your stool. Okay? And most people, when they see blood in their stool, okay, some get scared, but most people diagnose themselves as having hemorrhoids, which is Koko.
Okay.
Our local language says Koko.
But it's not the same.
Yes, if you have Koko, you have blood in your stool. But now we want Ghanaians and even the whole world to know that if you see blood in your stool, it doesn't automatically say that you have Koko.
Oh.
You see? And that's our challenge. Because most people see it quite early and they don't come. Because they are treating Koko or hemorrhoids. And they'll take all the herbal concoctions and do everything and rather come in late. So that's the first sign that you would see.
Right.
And then we also talk about change in bowel movement. Okay, so I always talk about people knowing their bodies. Okay, your body belongs to you. You know it better. You know how many times you pass to in a day. Let's say in a day you pass twice or 3 times a day. But then you see a change in your bowel movement where you are now either passing stool, let's say, once in 3 days, once in 5 days, once in a week. That's a change in your bowel. Yes. At least if it's persistent, you need to quickly come to the hospital. Right. Again, if you're someone probably who passes stool once a day or once in 3 days, we do have people like that. And it's your normal, okay? If you see that you now start to pass to, let's say, 6 times a day, 5 times a day, and mostly it becomes like a diarrhea stool for you. So change in bowel movement is either becoming constipated for a very long time or having diarrhea for a very long time, which will not stop. You shouldn't wait long. You need to come to the hospital. So that's another sign, which is change in bowel movement. Right. The other one is incomplete bowel movement. You know, when everyone passes to, I don't know if you've observed that, but when you pass to, okay, when you visit the washroom and you pass to, after the stool, you are supposed to feel okay. You are supposed to feel good. You are supposed to feel fine. Yes, because you've moved something out of the body. And then you feel quite light and ready to put in another thing, which is food. But when it comes to colorectal cancer, you realize that after passing stool, you feel like there's still stool there. You don't feel that goodness you're supposed to feel after you pass stool, the relief and all that. You don't feel it. So you feel like there's still some stool to be passed. So we call that incomplete bowel movement. Okay, you have that feeling that there's still more stool to pass, but it can't come. It can't come out.
What do you do in such situation?
So that's a sign of colorectal cancer that we are encouraging people to come. When they come, we know what to do. Most people will go to the pharmacy or drugstore to get medications, which can relieve you temporarily, okay? But when you realize that it's persistent, then we don't want you to stay home and self-medicate, but rather come to the hospital. Now, another sign is frequent hiccups. Okay. Mostly we know that when you have hiccup and probably you take in water, it's supposed to stop, isn't it? But this frequent hiccup is like it's continuous, which is not normal. I don't know why.
What's the name of hiccup in
the local dialect is kocheko.
Okay.
And Ga will say tiko tiko. Yeah, it's consistent. In a day you have over 30 or more, and it's continuous for a week, for 2 weeks, and you are still sitting at home.
Well, I haven't had that in a while.
Which is okay. You see, but people, ideally, we have it once in a while. But after drinking water, you're supposed to be fine. But with this, it's very persistent. And we don't want you to stay home when you have something like that. Okay? Again, we have a bloating. Bloating, when you eat, you feel bloated. Okay? Once in a while, you can feel bloated. You get to the pharmacy, you get some medications, and you feel relieved. But this kind of bloating I'm talking about is very persistent, just like the hiccups I mentioned. So when you have persistent bloating, it's not normal. You shouldn't self-medicate. Just go to the hospital and have a thorough checkup done. So that's one. Now, we also have fatigue. Okay, the reason why the person will be fatigued is because you are losing blood through your stool, okay? And that's going to cause iron deficiency anemia. That's a low blood count. Once you have low blood count, you realize that the least thing you do, you are tired. The normal things you even do will cause tiredness. So that's another sign. Okay, tiredness when you've not really done much. Okay. Now we have unexplained weight loss. Unexplained weight loss is not weight loss that you have decided to go on that journey, but you realize that you are losing weight. And even people are even telling you you've lost weight. Your clothes are loose on you and all that. So this unexplained weight loss, that's when people now feel like going to the hospital because why am I losing weight? That's when they come. But we rather prefer them to come with all the signs that I mentioned earlier, because when you start losing weight, it means you've advanced with the cancer, or your cancer has advanced. Okay. So we'll talk about the stages when I'm done as well. Now, the last, the last but one is also abdominal pain, which is also an early sign. Okay, people have abdominal pain. So if you have abdominal pain consistently, please don't self-medicate. Get to the hospital. Let's do all the necessary investigations. And then lastly, we have the abdominal distension, where the person's abdomen becomes big. And for that last one too, most people will now come to the hospital because they don't understand why the abdomen is getting bigger and bigger. And it's because the cancer has blocked your large intestine so much so that the stools cannot come out. And even if it's at the rectal area becomes so blocked that even this tiny finger cannot even enter the anus upon examination. Right. So where will the stools pass?
What's being done?
So we'll go in for the investigations, and then we will treat you, which I think we'll mention later. Now, let me talk about this too. Some people also pass very tiny stool, okay? Thin stool, because the intestine is blocked. So the little chance it gets when you try to strain when passing stool, the stool will surely come, but it will be very thin. And we all know how our stools come, right? They are quite huge. Yes, I mentioned today we are going to talk about some things, so please forgive me. I know by now you've had your porridge, your cocoa already, so you're okay. Yes, so with this colorectal cancer, some people do pass very thin stools, which is also another sign of colorectal cancer.
So how often should people, visit the hospital to get themselves checked?
Yes, so as I mentioned earlier,
in the Ghanaian society, we only visit the hospital when we feel pain.
It's high time.
By that time, maybe it has gotten to a very critical
so
condition.
It's high time we start practicing what we call preventive health, where you move to the hospital yourself for checkups and all that. So we encourage people above 45 years to come for the screening. But then, if you have had any relative with colorectal cancer, if you know any relative of yours who has had colorectal cancer, then we advise that you do not wait to get to age 45, especially if it's a first degree relative, your own sister, your biological mother, father. If any of them has had colorectal cancer, you don't have to wait till age 45 to come for the screening. You need to come before age 45.
Like what age are we looking at?
Anything above 20 is fine, because now we've had people coming in with colorectal cancer around 25, 27 years, 39, 35 years. Yes. So I think we will talk about the stages of colorectal cancer. Yes. So the stages, we have stage 0 to stage 4. Just as when you have a child who is in the crèche is on set. Okay. So you have a child who is in the crèche, meaning the child is tiny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then the child moves gradually to stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and then stage 4. Then it means the child is growing. It's the same way when it comes to all cancers. All cancers have stages, just like colorectal cancer. So as you see on your set, stage 0 is very tiny. It's now probably what we call a polyp. Okay? A polyp, if not seen earlier, can develop into colon cancer or a cancer. Okay. So the polyp at stage 0 can only be seen when you have the screening test done, because we all know that our intestines is internal and we cannot see what's happening there. So until you have the test, if it's at the polyp stage, we quickly take it out for you. Okay. Now, when it moves to stage 1, it's gradually eating your intestines. So you realize that initially it's at the inner lining of the intestines, but as it graduates to stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, it comes to the outer lining and even damages other organs around the intestines. You know, we have the kidney somewhere beside, on the left and on the right side. It can damage the kidney. It can also damage your liver. So it can spread around that area to damage other organs and within your intestines. It can even damage your bladder, where urine is kept before we urinate it out. So that's the stages of cancer. And unfortunately, you know, in I think initially I didn't mention the statistics when it comes to colorectal cancer. So we in the whole world we have about 1.9 people having colorectal cancer yearly.
1.9 million.
Million, yes, 1.9 million people having colorectal cancer.
And most of them are not even aware because they're not diagnosed.
Yes, if you don't have the screening test, which we'll talk about later, if you don't have it done, you will not know. So you'll be there having, and some, funny enough, the initial stage, which is around stage 0, some don't even show any sign at all. Others will only show the blood in their stool, okay, which they might attribute to something else. Okay, so we have 1.9 people having million having colorectal cancer worldwide, and we have 900,000 people dying out of colorectal cancer yearly.
This is a very serious.
So now when we come to Ghana, okay, we have about 3,000 to 4,000 people living with colorectal cancer in Ghana. And these numbers are the recorded ones we have in the hospitals. So those who have not even reported to the hospitals, we can't tell. And unfortunately, they come at the last stages that we mentioned, stage 3 and stage 4. That's when they report to the hospital. And mostly stage 3 and stage 4, it becomes difficult for us to do something good for you. Okay, I mean, for us to do something that can let you live long. At stage 3 and stage 4, it becomes difficult.
So it cannot be cured?
It can. It can, yes. When you come early, it can. Stage 0, stage 1 especially, it can. Stage 2, we can do something about it. You live for, a bit longer. But stage 3, stage 4, it becomes a challenge. And that is when Ghanaians especially report to the hospital. And that is why this time we are moving from stations, lorry stations, TV stations, FM stations to talk about this colorectal cancer, because Ghanaians are reporting late and we are losing our productive people.
And how is the reception like regarding the awareness creation?
People have never heard about colorectal cancer. Most people haven't heard about it because the awareness creation is not as much as other cancers, and it's because we've not had sponsors too. Okay, you know, most of the people that are able to make a lot of impacts, like the breast cancers, the prostate cancers, they mostly get sponsors. So we are hoping that through this campaign, we may get sponsors to also come and help us push colorectal cancer awareness forward within the nation.
We pray so, we pray so. But what are some of the treatment options, especially for the stage 3, especially, and then 4?
Okay, so let's talk about stage 0, 1, 2.
Sure.
Because that's where we really want people to come. Then we talk about 3 and 4. So with the stage 0, when you come and we realize that you have it, we would do a very simple procedure for you. Sometimes you're even able to just do it through your anus. Okay. Other times we'll have to just cut and then have surgery done. And did I say just cut? Because most people are scared of operation. But I said just cut because when you come earlier or when you come early, it makes the work very simple and very easy, and it makes it gives you a very good probability and chance to live. Okay, so we may have surgery done to remove the stage 0, stage 1 cancer for you. Okay. Now, stage 2 to have surgery done to take it out for you, after which we would encourage you to be coming for the screening test yearly to see if you've developed it again, because it can recur. It may recur.
So like annually or...
Yes, so when you've had the surgery done for removal, you would come for follow-up test, which is the colonoscopy that we'll talk about. But then when you come with stage 3 and 4, as I mentioned, it becomes difficult for us to do something for you to live long. Okay? So mostly what we do is called palliative care, where we would do what we call colostomy, removing your colon to your side. Okay, we remove your colon to your side where you would pass to. Because I mentioned that some people come in and the intestines are so blocked with the cancer that they are, the stool, they can't even pass to at all. Okay, the rectum is even blocked that this little finger can't even get any tiny space to enter. So we will do the colostomy for you. And we want Ghanaians to know about the colostomy. So when you see someone with it, it's not as though the person is out of this world. Because people face stigma when they have the colostomy. Okay, it's a procedure for the person to live a bit longer. Okay, so that's mostly done for the stage 3 and the stage 4 that do not come early. So at least with this, you can eat and be able to pass through the colostomy. But we encourage Ghanaians to please come early, at least between the stages 0 to 2, which would help us all to manage them well, and then for them to also live their age. I mean, their God-given age.
You made mention of the colonoscopy.
Colonoscopy is the screening tool for colorectal cancer, the number 1 screening tool for colorectal cancer. So it's actually, I mean, the name is just big, but then it's nothing much, okay? It's a fiber optic tube that we insert through your anus. It's not painful, it's very small, okay? Looking at what comes out from the anus, comparing it to the tube, then the tube is very small, okay? Very small tube that has a camera at the tip of the tube.
I think
we have it. Displayed. Yes, so that is it. We have the fiber optic tube inserted through the rectum, our anus, and it goes into the intestines, and it has a camera at the tip. So whilst it enters, you realize that the doctors will be watching on the screen. There's a monitor or a screen there. They'll be watching your intestines on it. So that's how they are able to diagnose whether you have a polyp, which is the beginning of like a cancer. So the polyp is not cancerous yet, and then they can quickly take it out for you. And if there is cancer, it can tell them which stage you've reached. In fact, if it's the 3rd and 4th stage, it becomes difficult to even do colonoscopy because it means that the tube will not be able to enter. Okay, so that's why we encourage people to come a bit earlier. And when you come, and when you have, again, let me mention as part of the risk factors, okay, we have some condition that we call, there are a group of diseases that we call inflammatory bowel diseases. It can also cause colorectal cancer. So when we do this colonoscopy, we will see all these things that we are talking about. If you have the disease, the inflammatory bowel disease, we will see all of these on the, so that's polyps you see there, you see? The polyps are in the intestines. So if you don't have colonoscopy done, we will not see the polyps. And these polyps are not cancerous yet. So we can quickly take it out for you before it becomes cancerous. But if you are living, you are living with these polyps in your intestines, you will not know, and then they will develop into colorectal cancer. So with a colonoscopy, mostly we'll give you some medications that will let you have diarrhea. Okay, it will to clear your intestines of all the stools there, because we want to visualize your intestines very, very well. Okay, so when we give you the medication, we'll advise you to stay home for that evening. I mean, you start in the afternoon, the day before the colonoscopy. You start in the afternoon. Okay, you start taking the medication in the afternoon, so you need to have closed and gone home, because if you are at work, it means you'll be going in and out of the washroom. So it's going to wash the whole intestines clean, so that the doctors can see every part of your intestine very well. to visualize the intestines very, very well. So that's about colonoscopy.
So for somebody who happens to be in the stage 4 or stage 3, how can they stay hopeful? And how can we as society or health professionals, how can we help them or talk them out of this?
It's a very depressive stage. So we take them through a lot of counseling. And now we have the palliative care team that would help you gradually. We'll help your family. We'll talk to your family and direct them towards the word we don't like to hear, which is death. Okay? No, so when we refer to the palliative, they are able to psych them very well, so much so that when the person is no more, the family is not too pained. At least they take them all through the stage that will be managing them. So this stage is a very, as I said, is a very depressing stage for we as health workers, as well as the family and as well as the patient who is suffering from the colorectal cancer at this stage. So mostly in the foreign countries, they have the society associations that helps all these people. But unfortunately, we are yet to create a colorectal cancer society.
But what has been the gap that we don't know? A lot of people don't even know about
colorectal cancer.
Yes. So what has been the gap? Is it that it's now being seen and it's now being diagnosed, or it hasn't been there? Because honestly, I didn't know about this until now, and I've really
true.
Learned a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
So colorectal cancer, we had specialists not long ago.
Okay.
Like our doctors going to specialize in colorectal cancer. We had the specialist not long ago, about 4 or 5 years now.
Okay.
So we now have a dedicated ward for colorectal cancer at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, which is
it only Kolebu, or we have
now it's, I think Kolebu and Konfanochi also has one colorectal surgeon there. That's what I know for now. So Konfanochi and Kolebu Teaching Hospital, we have quite a number of colorectal surgeons, but Konfanochi, I know they have one there. So now we are trying our best to try and campaign and make noise around colorectal cancer for people to be aware of it. Because in the past, people have really died from colorectal cancer and relatives didn't know. So their children now come with colorectal cancer. And when we are having our history taken with the patients, you realize that, oh, my father died complaining of abdominal pains, having stools having blood in his stools. Then you realize that this person's father actually died from colorectal cancer when they didn't even know that the person had colorectal cancer.
Right.
So now with your help, we'll be coming more to educate people on colorectal cancer.
Right. We have a few questions here. Someone is talking about cost and availability of screening tests remain barriers. Government and health institutions need to make screening more affordable and accessible, especially in rural areas. There's another question. How can government and health institutions make screening services more accessible and affordable to the public? This is from Emmanuel from Kumasi.
Thank you very much for all those questions. So the screening amount for Kolebu Teaching Hospital or at Kolebu Teaching Hospital is 700 cedis.
Okay.
But then
for the screening,
yes, the colonoscopy, it's 700 cedis. Okay. But besides Kolebu, there are other hospitals that does colonoscopy, but then it's going to be quite higher. Some have it
like
1,002
hospitals.
Yes, 1,002, 1,005 thereabouts. But for Kolebu Teaching Hospital, it's 700 cedis. And as I said, we would prescribe some medication for you, particular medication that is going to help clear every stool out of your intestine. And that medication at Kolebu is 403 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
So making a total of 1,001 and 1,104. And 3 or 1,001 and 3 cedis.
Okay.
Okay. So let's say 1,001.
Right.
Yes, that's for Kolebu. But if you are doing it at a private facility, then you buy the medication there and then you pay for the test there. Okay. So it seems our price is a bit lower than the private hospitals that does colonoscopy. And then before you come for colonoscopy, you need to come for us to book you for the colonoscopy, because we don't have many of the colonoscopy machines. Okay, so I would also use this medium. Yes, it's a challenge to us. So we have quite a number of people coming for the colonoscopy, and because the machine is a bit limited, it breaks down quite often. So we are pleading with institutions to come and help get us more colonoscopy machines for us to be able to screen more people. Okay.
So if I heard you correctly, like people are coming.
Yeah, people do come. You know, mostly now we do what we call opportunistic screening.
Okay.
When you come complaining of stomach pains, abdominal pains, yes, we use that opportunity for you to book for the colonoscopy for us to check.
Right.
And that has been very helpful for us to detect those who are in the stage 0 and stage 1.
Because these days when you go to the hospitals and you tell them what is wrong with you, they'll give you exactly what, after maybe the lab test, but probably, there's something.
Yes, so that's why I'm saying that now we are doing what we call the opportunistic screening. If you get yourself to us at Kolebu Teaching Hospital complaining of, before you are referred to Kolebu, it means you've been to other hospitals, or clinics. So once you come, and it means that your abdominal pain, stomach pains have been consistent. That is why you've been referred to a bigger hospital, a tertiary hospital like Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Then we would use that opportunity to screen you, that's have the colonoscopy done for you, and then we would know what to do for you afterwards.
So let me take this last comment. Someone said healthy eating, regular exercise, reducing alcohol intake and avoiding smoking can significantly lower the risk. Prevention and early detection must go hand in hand, because humans need to be careful of their health. What lifestyle changes can people adapt now to reduce their risk while prioritizing early detection? I think it was mentioned earlier, but
we will talk about the preventive measures. It's just like the risk factors that you are going to improve upon. Okay, it's just like the risk factors we talked about. So we are encouraging preventive health now. So we are saying that to prevent colorectal cancer, we need to watch our diet. So we would see it on our set. We'll have we need to move back to our local foods. Okay.
Because I have this particular, let me read this one.
Yes, read it.
It says that this campaign must go on and on and on. The foods people are eating nowadays, holy God. And this from Mr. Kumar from Jolu. And it's serious.
It's pathetic.
You don't know what is being prepared with the foods.
I mentioned the junk foods, and you realize that they are all mostly like Western foods. So now we are encouraging our people, we are encouraging Ghanaians to go back to our local foods, okay? The banku and the ademe, soup, okro, you see? The kontomire, that you pour the oil on top, The kontomire, the bayere, bodie, all those things, we need to go back to those foods, okay? Because when you look at the diets for preventing colorectal cancer, they are mostly the foods with fiber, okay? Foods with fiber. We have oats, we have wheat, maize. You see, all those food with the fiber, they help with easy digestion. And so it's not going to allow stools to stay in your large intestines for long to cause problems and all that. So fibrous food, or food with fiber, we have, I think we see it on the set now, we have all those local foods there. Kontomire, the spinach, broccoli, and those vegetables too are all part. And then fruits. But Ghanaians, we don't like fruits and vegetables.
Why?
I don't know. Most people will tell you that. Most people will tell you that my parents didn't teach me how to eat fruits. My parents didn't teach me how to eat vegetables. If your parents didn't teach you, please learn. Because my parents never taught me how to eat pizza. But now I can eat pizza, isn't it? Yes, so we need to learn to eat fruits. And Ghanaians, in Ghana, we are blessed. at every month or every time of the year, there is a fruit that is in season. Yeah. Okay, now I know we have orange. So when you take the orange, I would advise you, chew everything in it. Don't just take the juice. Yeah. See that inner part, it contains very high fiber. Yeah. Yeah. So if you realize when you eat that part, that day, no, you pass through. Yeah. So that's the fiber we are talking about. Right. Okay, so let's encourage ourselves. Let's eat more fruits, vegetables. Let's eat our locally made foods that contains lots of fiber. Yeah. Again, I think someone mentioned exercise. Yes. So physical inactivity is another risk factor. So please, henceforth, we need to be more physically active. Okay, let's exercise. When it's lunchtime, you don't go and eat alone and don't go and eat and come and sit down. But make sure you walk around your work area before you go and eat. That's exercise. You need to sweat at least for 30 minutes a day. You need to do lots of exercise, which can also help your muscles, your intestinal muscles to function very well. Again, we talked about smoking and alcohol intake. Now, let me say that smoking and alcohol intake and obesity, okay, and lack of exercise, these four all run through most of the risk factors for all the cancers that we have. So if you are able to take care of yourself, avoid alcohol intake, avoid smoking, avoid physical inactivity, and then if you are obese, you try to lose weight. If you're able to do all these four, you are preventing lots of cancers, not only colorectal cancer. Yeah. Okay, so let's all take notes. I mean, I don't think it's a big thing for us to do. Okay, and we can all do all the things that I've mentioned now. Avoid alcohol, avoid smoking. Let's eat very well. Eat our fruits, vegetables, and not forgetting drinking quite an amount of water in a day. At least 3 liters of water. That's 6 sachet water per day, at least. That is if you don't have a medical condition that prohibits that amount of water, then you need to take at least 3 liters of water a day to also help with digestion and help with the movement of stools in your large intestines. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Madam Margaret Frimpong. Hey, this name. This has been a very insightful conversation, and I have learned a lot. If you've not learned anything at all, you have to learn that you have to get yourself checked because your health comes first. And as always, love and light. This has been the main segment on the Koko Digest Morning Show, and I hope to see you somewhere next week. And as always, love and light all day, every day. Do enjoy the rest of our programs. My name once again is Honorable Beverly Ejabia.